When it comes to gifting, everyone on your list deserves something special. Luckily, Marshall's buyers travel far and wide, hustling for great deals and amazing gifts, so you don't have to. That means your mom gets that cashmere sweater, your best friend, that Italian leather bag. Your coworkers unwrap their favorite beauty brands. And your nephews, the coolest new toys. Go ahead. At prices this good, you can grab something for yourself, too. Marshalls. We get the deals. You gift the good stuff. Shop now at Marshalls.com or find a store near you.
We
are
Cultivate.
Cultivate.
We are Cultivate.
Hello and welcome to Ye Olde Crime, where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear. I am your host, Lindsay Valenti, and with me is my sister and co-host, Maddie Savage.
Hello.
Hello.
Quick happy birthday to my husband. Today is his birthday.
Happy birthday. Even though when this comes out, it'll be past your birthday, but happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I told him that you already said it, and he was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. I do have a correction.
Oh, no!
So I didn't put an episode out this past week, the week of Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. I was supposed to have an author interview go out. The night that I was supposed to record with said author, our Wi-Fi was down.
Awful.
And it was a whole thing, and I was really bummed because I've been really looking forward to talking to her. I will be talking to her next week, so it will still come out this year. We were able to reschedule, but because of that, and because I didn't have anything back, like as a backup, there was no episode. I am going to be retroactively putting in a longer Can You Crack the Cramp Word episode. So you will see that pop up on your feed. And just know that I'm sorry. Life happens, and sometimes you don't plan ahead properly for said life. So, oops-a-doodle.
It's hard when you think something like Wi-Fi that you get every day. When it goes out, you don't realize how devastating it can be. Especially when it comes to stuff like this, you know? Like, normally you're okay without your phone for a few hours, but you really need that internet connection to record.
Yeah, especially when you're recording with somebody who does not live anywhere close to you. So, yeah. Thankfully, she was extremely gracious about it because I did give her like an hour's notice and was like, hey, I just realized this. We are in the middle of a winter storm, so I'm really, really sorry. And she was really good about it. Anyway, so that's the correction. In the kudos closet, because it is the first episode of December, we get the opportunity to thank our Buy Me a Coffee sustainers. So thank you to Charlie, Elizabeth, Sarah, Cheryl, Mariam, June, and Shinifer.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, they're the best. To kick off December, I chose a person that admittedly I didn't know a whole lot about. And after researching this person, I'm like, wow, okay. So, today, we are going to be discussing Giacomo Casanova.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, somebody you really don't know much about, but you hear the name all the time. Okay, let's dig in.
Information was pulled from the following sources: a 2025 Kiss from Italy blog post, 2025 Walks of Italy blog post, 2024 The Article Post by Jeffrey Myers, 2024 The Collector article by Stephanie Jelks, 2023 Yale University Press blog post by Leo Damroche, 2022 History Hit article by Lucy Davidson, 2019 All That's Interesting article by Andrew Milne, 2018, The Vintage News article by Taryn Smee, Britannica, Find a Grave, Goodreads, The Venice Explorer, and Wikipedia.
Nice.
And thank you to Carrie Ann for her research assistance on this episode. And links to all of these articles will be included in the show notes.
All right.
If you love the show, the best way to support us is to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods, CastBox, Podcast Addict, and or Audible. Links to all of these are in our show notes, or if you're already listening on one of these platforms, you know what to do.
Oh, and while you're at it, shoot us a question you'd like to hear us answer on the pod. We'll give you a special shout out and address your burning questions all at the same time. The weirder, the better. Submit them via link in our show notes or shoot them to us in our DMs.
Casanova is best known as the quote-unquote great lover.
Mm-hmm.
But who was he really? An adventurer, a writer, a fraud, or something more complicated?
Probably all of the above, and then some.
Yes.
Because why else would we still be talking? Like, why else would his name still exist? I think that's pretty crazy to me, is that the name
Mm-hmm.
is just so colloquially known
Mm-hmm.
in love. I'm so excited. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
It's a fight. Giacomo Girolamo Casanova was born on April 2nd, 1725 in Venice, Italy, the son of poor actor parents Gaetano Giuseppe Casanova and Zanetta Farusi, of whom he was the eldest of 6.
Dang. Okay. So, like, pretty standard at that time. Honestly.
Lots of kids. Mm-hmm.
Like 4 to 6 is kind of the
norm.
The number.
Yep. He was orphaned at 8 when his father died in 1733, and his grandmother, Marzia Baldirsera, raised him while his actress mother toured Europe, choosing her career over motherhood.
Yeah. Not typical of the time, but so is he the only sibling of that marriage?
No.
Then?
No.
Oh, okay.
So his siblings include Francesco Giuseppe, who was born in 1727, Giovanni Battista in 1730, Faustina Maddalena in 1731, who would pass away at the age of 5,
Oh.
Maria Maddalena Antonia Stella in 1731, and
Dang.
Gaetano Alves in 1734. So of the 6, only one passed in childhood.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are good, strong genes.
Yep. So his father passed away before his youngest brother was born.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awful. And then his mom was like, bye.
She was like, deuces.
I didn't sign up to do this alone. See you later.
Yeah, I'm going to go live my dream.
I mean,
yeah.
No, it's still terrible. I'm sorry.
It's still terrible.
Like,
yeah.
It's still terrible, yeah.
Venice in the 1720s was the pleasure capital of Europe, and social vices were not only tolerated, but encouraged.
Okay.
Fun fact, during a visit to the island of Murano, Giacomo was treated for his frequent nosebleeds by a healer known for her mystical arts.
Okay.
This experience would stick with him for the rest of his life, inspiring his passion for the supernatural.
I love that he's a spooky guy.
So, like, up until this point, he was kind of a sickly child. And I don't know if I don't think he had any sort of blood disorder, but he would just constant nosebleeds.
Yeah. Okay. Just a really dry nose, potentially. Dry nose with some allergies.
Giacomo moved to Padua at the age of 9, and he lived in a boarding house there, likely for health reasons. I think his grandmother chose to send him there, like, the weather here is going to be better for you, so hopefully you won't be bleeding out of your face all the time.
Like the TB hospital kind of theory of, like, Go live in the mountains so you can breathe.
Breathe the
Even though
fresh
that was like
air.
the worst place for them.
Yeah. Yeah. After asking to be put under the care of Abbe Antonio Maria Gozzi, in addition to law, philosophy, theology, classic languages, and mathematics, Giacomo learned violin and would later move in with the priest and his family during much of his teenage years. So the conditions at the boarding house were so bad that he was like, he spoke to this priest and he was like, please let me live with you. Like, it was disgusting. It was flea and rat infested. Like, it was not a good
That's
place.
so crazy to think about, though, with all of that other stuff that you mentioned. Like,
Mhm.
oh, he's learning to play the violin in like this rat infested hellscape. Like, he's also learning
Yeah.
several languages and like law, and
Yeah.
that's hard to reconcile
Yeah.
because it's
So I
like a
don't know if like
highfalutin school and like really awful dorms,
so
maybe.
I just don't
Like,
know if like if the living quarters were really bad but the school itself was nice, or
because
if
that could make sense if like the kids go to school and they're
Mhm.
normally at home. But maybe if it's on an
Maybe.
island, it's a boarding school. I don't know.
I don't know.
Either way, it smells funny to me. But
Yeah.
okay.
It didn't take long for Giacomo to be introduced to the appeal of the finer sex. In fact, at the age of 11, the younger sister of his mentor, 15-year-old Bettina, quote, kept him in a continual state of excitement while withholding satisfaction for his passion, end quote.
Oh, at 11?
At 11. Spoiler alert, it never progressed past her helping him treat his hair and body to rid him of the fleas that he had kind of become infested with while at the boarding house.
Okay, good. So she's like, I'm treating you like a child I would be taking care of.
Yeah.
And he's just a prepubescent boy that
Yeah.
is being touched by probably a pretty girl for the first time.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I took it as well.
Okay. That makes me feel better about it. And honestly,
Yeah.
that would make total sense too, because I imagine that he's probably pretty touch starved, just given his trajectory to date in life. Like, unless his grandmother was very affectionate.
Which probably not if
Which
she was raising
is
6 kids by herself.
right, including a newborn at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would imagine he like any sort of affectionate or just touch at all would be that way, especially, and like if you're getting rid of fleas, you have to be really careful and gentle and particular. So yeah, I could imagine that was probably a life-changing moment for him, despite the embarrassment of the situation. Oh, this is like breaking my heart. It gets worse. You made a face.
I did
It
make a
gets
face.
worse.
I made a face.
Oh,
I shouldn't have made the face. Anyway, Giacomo enrolled in the University of Padua at the age of 12.
oh my.
His mother convinced him to attend school to pursue a law career, even though he aspired to become a healer like the one who treated him in Murano.
I bet. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, so he wanted to become like a healer, but also use a lot of like the folksy type remedies too. So he kind of wanted to be almost like a
Homeopathic.
yes, while knowing general medical things.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
makes sense. Like country medicine.
yes. Anyway, Giacomo was brilliant, and he graduated with a law degree just 5 years later at the age of 17.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
Like his story could have ended up a million different ways, and being that brilliant and successful in any sort of goal at 17 is awesome. Good for him.
Giacomo didn't stay on this path for very long, and he had
Yeah,
to
okay.
return to Venice at his grandmother's insistence after he took up a couple of the vices that would later make him a household name in Europe: gambling and women.
Yeah, I bet, because he never had money, and suddenly he probably has access to a lot of money, being a lawyer. And if you have access to a lot of money, pretty women start showing up. And if he's smart and young and successful, makes sense.
Yeah. So Giacomo entered the seminary at the age of 14. So while he was learning at the seminary. And he was employed as a church cleric, or abbey, or abba, in February of 1740. 11 months later, Giacomo received 4 minor orders. I don't know. I don't really understand what this means. It's something with Catholicism. Anyway, 4 months later, he had quote-unquote dined so well that when he was supposed to give a eulogy, he not only forgot his speech, but he fainted. And
no!
After awaking in the sacristy, he escaped. He was like, I'm out of here. I
can't do this anymore.
I can't do this.
Well, oh my gosh, could you imagine how that would have been perceived as a bad omen at that time?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been horrific for that to happen at a eulogy. I can imagine the family's probably like, they're never going to heaven. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would run away too. I'm not going to lie. I'd probably try to escape if that was an option.
Giacomo went on to live in the home of Senator Alvise Malipiero in Venice, but would later get kicked out when it was discovered that he was quote-unquote corrupting a young woman named Therese. He also had an affair with a 16-year-old woman named Marta, as well as her 14-year-old sister Nanetta, at the same time, deflowering both of them as well as himself.
That's rough. That's real rough. Okay, I'm starting to not root for him as much at this time.
Now, after trying and failing a couple more times to get work with the church following his grandmother's death, at one point being thrown out of the church after being caught in bed with another member of the seminary. He later landed in prison for a time when his gambling debts became too much.
Yeah, you got to pay those back.
After his trial, his mother tried and failed to get him another liturgical position with Bishop Bernardo G. Bernargese, but he would work as a scribe for Cardinal Acquaviva in Rome. So he didn't work for the bishop. He ended up getting a job for the cardinal. At a meeting with the Pope, he asked for permission to read forbidden books and also to stop eating fish. It wasn't his favorite thing.
Okay, how did he have access to the Pope?
The cardinal. He was a scribe for the cardinal, so he would be in front of the Pope.
No, I know, but that's just crazy to me that he would have...
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, okay. That's just...
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
That didn't work out. I'm pretty sure they still eat fish a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's still pretty much a staple. And those forbidden books are still,
It could have been something where he was like, I can't eat fish. Can I just stop eating fish? Who knows?
Who knows? And who was the Pope at that time, too? Was he nice? Did he think it was funny? Or was he like, who the hell is this kid? Which Pope was it?
Pope Benedict XIV. He is considered one of the greatest popes of the 18th century, known for his wit, moderation, and extensive intellectual interests.
Oh, so he probably would have been nice and would have been like, oh, you dumb idiot, sure. You can do whatever you want, except for the forbidden books.
Yeah. He seems like a nice guy. Anyway.
Cool. All right.
Even as a member of the clergy, Giacomo continued to have liaisons with women. But after a liaison gone wrong, the cardinal ended his clerical career and forced him to leave the city of Rome.
That's a huge deal.
He wasn't heartless, however. He offered Giacomo money and connections wherever he chose to go. And that's how Giacomo ended up in Constantinople.
But you can't go back to Constantinople.
Nope.
I had to. I'm so sorry.
I know. Giacomo switched gears and sought a career as a soldier, being stationed at Corfu in
Oh,
Constantinople.
quite a pivot.
Yep.
Okay.
This didn't last long, as he
I
found
bet.
military life exceedingly dull, and he couldn't pay back his gambling debts from losing at the card game Pharaoh on a soldier's salary.
No. And pretty sure other soldiers would not take just that slight.
IOU.
Yeah.
So he quit the military and headed back to Venice.
How do you quit the military?
I don't know,
Okay.
but he did.
He keeps quitting all of these things that like you can't quit. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Okay. All right.
At this point, Giacomo is now 21.
What? He should be like 86 by this point with all the stuff
Nope.
happening in his life.
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
After failing to work for the church or the military, or as a professional gambler, which he tried and successfully failed at, he instead took up a career as a violinist at the San Samuel Theater.
Honestly impressive that he's stuck with the violin this whole time, because that was a pivot I was not expecting. So he must really love the instrument, because I would imagine if he had gambling debts, he probably gained and lost a few violins in his time.
That's a fair bet.
Right?
And in a perfect example of being in the right place at the right time, he managed to save the life of a senator, Count Matteo Giovanni Bragadin, when the pair were sharing a gondola, and he recognized that the count was suffering from a stroke.
Wow. How did he save him then?
He recognized that he was exhibiting the symptoms.
Yeah.
He made them go to shore. So after being bled by a surgeon on the shore, Giacomo followed them to the senator's home to make sure he was taken care of.
Oh.
The surgeon placed an ointment of mercury on the senator's chest, which caused him to develop a fever and breathing problems.
Yeah, no shit.
It got so bad that they even called in a priest to perform the last rites.
Yeah, you can't just slather mercury wherever, guy. Especially probably an open wound at that point, because that's probably where they also bled him out.
I don't know.
Just putting straight up mercury in your bloodstream.
Giacomo ordered them to stop using the ointment on the senator, and he not only recovered from his stroke, but with the aid of a good diet, he made a full recovery.
That's insane. That is incredible.
And after this, the Count became Giacomo's lifelong patron.
Yeah, I bet. Absolutely. I would probably follow this guy to the ends of the earth, because he had no reason, really, to save his life, didn't know who he was, and continued to follow through.
He just knew him as a violinist that he had seen perform at the theater. And they had happened to have a conversation, and they were riding a gondola together, and then this happened.
That's crazy. Yeah, that is definitely divine intervention. At some point, like, holy smokes.
So after this, over the course of the next 3 years, Giacomo essentially lived as a nobleman, continuing his love of gambling and women.
That's crazy.
And in regard to his love life, he had several affairs, but some were a bit more well-known than others. Now, he was popular with women due to his wit, his charm, not to mention his powdered and curled hair. So he was very
highfalutin. He probably smelled better than most.
Yes. And he was described in some places as a dandy.
Okay. Pretty. So he was a pretty man.
He cared a lot about how he presented himself.
Which, yeah, women. Okay, fun fact. Just everyone, if you take care of yourself and smell good and feel good, That's very attractive to a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I could imagine smelling good back then would be very attractive because
Mhm.
everything smells terrible everywhere all of the time.
Yep. 1000%. Now, his first romantic relationship was with an opera singer named Angela, known for her strong personality. There was
Okay.
even a rumor that she had to disguise herself as a man to perform as a singer in Ancona at the time, as it was a member of the Papal States. So it was like
Mm.
men only.
Mm. She must have been a really awesome, alto or
Mhm.
mezzo. Ooh, I wish we could hear her. I bet she was awesome.
Giacomo's relationship with her was particularly intense and brief. And it's unclear if that relationship was actually with a woman named Bellino, a woman posing as a castrati, or essentially a man who was castrated before puberty to maintain their high singing voice.
Nice. Nice.
So Giacomo discovered that she was actually a woman named
Mhm.
Teresa Lanti, who used a fake penis to disguise herself as a man.
Ye old Packer, like it.
Mhm. The
Keep
pair
going.
had a brief love affair, which resulted in a son that she would go on to raise as her younger brother.
Okay. I hope the son found out eventually, because that would be pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. So it's unclear to me if these were the same relationship or if these are two separate relationships that
Mm.
just so happen to be very similar in manner. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility.
Knowing his track record too, this could be, happening at the same time. Also,
Something.
kind of, maybe.
As author Judith Summers notes in her book, Casanova's Women, quote, as well as good looks, he possessed the rare gift of befriending women. He had the knack of addressing them as if they were his equals, and undressing them as if they were his superiors. End quote.
I really like that.
Mm-hmm. This stroke of good luck was not to last, however.
What?
As Giacomo ended up in hot water once more, this time requiring him to flee Venice and escape to Parma when he was not only accused of blasphemy after digging up a corpse in an elaborate practical joke, but of raping and beating a former lover.
That escalated quickly. I wanna say I have a hard time imagining that, but I don't know. His life is just so tumultuous.
Mm-hmm.
But, beating and really? You would think he would assault an ex-lover?
Fun fact.
Huh.
After a friend played a practical joke on him, Giacomo paid him back by digging up a freshly buried corpse.
Why?
Unfortunately, his joke was a little too extreme as it caused his victim to suffer a stroke that would leave him paralyzed and unable to recover.
Okay, so he's the only one in his life with luck, and he is a curse on others.
Mm-hmm.
That is messed up.
Mm-hmm.
That is whew.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I could ever imagine a friend playing a prank on me so hard that I have a stroke and my life is forever altered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was in Cesena in January of 1748 that he fell in love before having his heart broken, which was a first for him. In his memoirs, he refers to her as Henriette, but her true identity remains a mystery to this day, although it's been theorized that she was Anne Adelaide de Guiden, the daughter of a French government official and aristocrat.
Ooh.
She was most likely a married woman who traveled with an officer that her husband had appointed for her safety. When she met Giacomo on her travels, she slipped away from her travel companion to spend 3 blissful months in each other's company.
Oh.
Henriette was well educated, lovely, and managed to do what no other lover had so far, which was capture Giacomo's heart. In his memoir, he notes, quote, "They who do not believe that a woman is capable of making a man equally happy all the 24 hours of a day have never known a Henriette. The joy that flooded my soul was far greater when I conversed with her during the day than when I held her in my arms during the night." End quote.
That's so sweet.
When they were forced to part upon reaching Geneva, Giacomo was actually moved to tears and never recovered. She left him with a note that essentially read, quote, "You will forget Henriette too," end quote, alongside 500 louis and the diamond ring that he had given her.
Oh, man.
So on the one hand, it kind of feels a little bit like a slap in the face because she was like paying him for his time. But he had also spent a lot of the money that he had at that point doting on her, even though she was a noblewoman and of wealthy means. So
he was essentially wining and dining her with her own money.
Kind of.
In a roundabout way.
In a roundabout way, yeah. Giacomo went on a grand tour of the continent after accumulating quite a deal of money gambling, heading to Paris in June of 1750, where he learned French and seduced dozens of women along the way. Yeah. But it wasn't just sexual with Giacomo. He often connected with his paramours on an emotional and intellectual level, discussing art, philosophy, and literature.
Nice.
Although I'm sure some of them were just for sexual gratification.
Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
To add to his list of accomplishments during this period, he also wrote a play, La Moulouchide, which was performed at the Royal Theatre. And fun fact, his mother acted in it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting how she just kind of randomly appears in his life.
Yeah, she's kind of in and out.
Yeah. Not super happy with that, but...
He also became a Freemason in August, before finally returning to Venice 2 years later in 1753.
Interesting pivot.
At this point, he is 28, a master mason, and if you thought his life was chaotic before, buckle up.
He's only 23 right now.
No, he's 28.
28, okay.
Yeah. Now, by the time he had returned to Venice, Giacomo's quote-unquote escapades, shall we say, including his dalliances with women, ranging from virgins to nuns to married women, not to mention his gambling addiction, saw him arrested at the age of 30, primarily, quote, for his public outrages against the holy religion, end quote.
So they were kind of accusing him of mocking his faith by continuously doing these acts.
So the allegations lodged against him included religious corruption, sexual assault, blasphemy, and public controversy. And despite his patron, Senator Bragadine's warnings to leave Venice, so his patron...
He was like, dude, get out.
Yeah, he was like, you need to leave Venice. There was no time. On the morning of July 26th, 1755, Giacomo was arrested by 40 police officers at his home.
So they really wanted to embarrass him.
Mm-hmm.
They really were going to make...
They were going to make an example of him.
Yes, thank you.
Giacomo was held in Piombi, which is also known as the Leads, one of the most infamous prisons of the Serenissima Republic, where he was sentenced to stay for the next 5 years.
Yeah, they wanted to make an example out of him for sure.
So it was called the Leads because the tiles on the roof were made of lead.
Oh, you would have been so sick.
So his cell was heavily guarded and considered inescapable. It was almost pitch black, infested with fleas, stiflingly hot, and the ceiling was so low that Giacomo couldn't stand properly. Like, he couldn't stand up straight.
Mm.
It was also on the top of the 5 floors of the Palazzo Ducali, and given how famous the building was, the chances of escaping unseen were next to impossible, especially considering he would have had to navigate the lead tiles on the roof to do so.
Yeah, not great.
Now, Giacomo languished in his cell for 13 months before Senator Bragadin convinced the jailers to relocate him.
That's incredible that they even got them to do that after 13 months of that. Oh my gosh. His spine was forever changed at that point.
This should have been cause for celebration, but it was, in fact, exasperating for Giacomo because he was so close to breaking out of Piombi.
Oh no.
He planned his escape for August 28th, St. Augustine's Day, when the Inquisitor, whose quarters were below his cell, would have been out celebrating the holiday.
Ah.
So before he could go through with his plan, he was moved to a new cell on August 25th, just 3 days before he planned to escape.
That had to be a bitter pill to swallow.
So during one of his allowed exercise walks in the prison attic, he had found a piece of black marble and an iron bar, which he smuggled back into his cell.
Okay.
And he fashioned the bar into a pick, thanks to the marble, and started digging through the wood floor of his room under his bed.
Okay.
And his room was conveniently directly above that of the Inquisitor. But he wouldn't let this good fortune go to waste. So enter Plan B.
Okay. All right.
So a priest named Father Balbi occupied the cell directly above Giacomo's, his new cell that he was moved to.
Okay.
And the pair enjoyed reading. And after getting the jailer's go-ahead, the pair began exchanging books. Giacomo used mulberry juice as ink to write a note to Balbi, which he hid in the book's spine.
Okay.
The two then started writing back and forth, with Giacomo telling the priest that he had a plan to escape if Balbi would be willing to help him. And the ask was simple. He needed Balbi to break through the floor into Giacomo's room. He would then get both of them out of prison.
Okay.
So after Balbi agreed, Giacomo sent him the spike that he'd made, hidden inside a Bible that was delivered to Balbi under a giant bowl of pasta, which helped disguise the weight of the spike.
Okay. So he has like a lot of friends in the jail at this point, or at least people just rooting for him.
Yes. It took around a week for Balbi to break through the floor, at which point Giacomo had a new issue to deal with. He had just gotten a new cellmate who freely admitted that he was a spy for the Doge's Council of 10, for the very people who put him in jail.
Yeah. To keep an eye on him.
Yes.
Which means somebody said something.
So channeling what I would like to think of as his inner Loki, Giacomo decided to prey on his cellmate's extreme faith by sharing with him that he'd had a vision of an angel coming to deliver him from prison. And when the sound of the priest's digging went through the ceiling, Giacomo told the man that it was the angel working to free him.
Oh no.
And the man believed him.
This must have been a very like vulnerable person if like they keep getting tricked by various groups of people.
Yeah. So once Balbi broke through the floor, Giacomo set his plan into motion. He and Balbi worked together to pry their way through the lead plates lining the roof, which were located just above Balbi's cell. So they worked together. So they then used sheets, blankets, and a mattress cover to craft a rope to aid in their escape.
Okay.
And after climbing onto the roof, it quickly became apparent that jumping was out of the question.
I bet.
Nope.
Unless you want to shatter your legs and end up right back in prison again.
Yeah. Or just
Die.
die. Giacomo frantically searched everywhere for a way to help them escape, refusing to accept defeat. About an hour later, he found a dormer window that was much farther down the roof's slope and much closer to the ground. Giacomo used the pick to pry the grate covering the window off, and after almost sliding off the roof to his untimely demise, both Giacomo and Balbi were able to get inside safely using a ladder they found on the roof as well as their rope. So they were able to kind of like...
This guy's luck, man.
So after resting for a little bit and to kind of get their bearings, the men changed clothes, broke a lock, and were able to convince a guard that they had accidentally been locked in the palace after attending a function the previous night.
So they just acted like hungover idiots trying to get home.
Yeah. So at 6 a.m. on November 1st, 1756, Giacomo and Balbi simply walked down the palace corridor and outside, disappearing into the fog.
It would have been All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
The night before.
Yep. They were able to grab a gondola as they made their escape at sunrise and would go on to change gondolas once more to throw the authorities off their trail. And the pair eventually just separated and went their separate ways.
All right, then.
Fun fact, Giacomo left a note in his cell for his captors that read, quote, "Since you all did not ask my permission to throw me in jail, I am not asking for yours to get out," end quote.
Cheeky.
Mm-hmm. Second fun fact, he was the first person to escape from the Leads prison, as it had previously been believed to be inescapable.
Yeah, so he really rubbed it in at that point.
So he and the priest were the first ones to escape that prison.
Dang.
This brush with the law wasn't going to stop Giacomo from living his life. After fleeing to Paris at the age of 31, he started several grifts. He helped establish the French lottery. He opened a silk factory. And he also posed as an alchemist, telling visitors that he was actually 300 years old and could create diamonds from nothing.
I mean, I'd go crazy too, I guess, in that one cell for 13 months. So yeah, sure. Just do whatever you need to do to survive. Because, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? He goes back to jail. He's got to... It sounds like he's quite literally living it up as best he can, just in case. There's nothing to lose at this point.
A count came to visit him, and seeing him for what he really was, he offered Giacomo a job as a spy for his ability to lie with such a straight face.
Yeah, I bet.
Giacomo accepted, and his first mission was to sell state bonds in Amsterdam.
Oh my God.
He was able to accumulate quite a tidy sum, which he then promptly lost, spending money on his numerous lovers.
Right.
It didn't take long for his debts and enemies to start circling, causing him to flee once more. In 1760, now 35, Giacomo reinvented himself as Chevalier du Songault, returning to Paris, where he convinced a noblewoman that he could use the occult to turn her into a young man. For a price, of course.
Okay. All right.
He later traveled to England, where he was able to con his way into an audience with King George III, and he even spoke with Catherine the Great of Prussia, doing his best to sell her an idea for a Russian lottery scheme.
Oh my.
Giacomo also spent time in Warsaw, where he dueled with a colonel over the affections of an Italian actress.
Okay.
Fun fact, in addition to royalty, Giacomo also had conversations with several other influential people of the day, including Voltaire, Rousseau, Mozart, and Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin really checks out. Man was a deviant.
That one I was like, okay, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, okay.
1,000%. 1,000%. Like they probably met up at some weird swingers party and he was like, oh, hey, Ben.
Yep. Met at the gambler's table at a brothel or something.
After living 18 years in exile, Giacomo won the right to return to Venice in 1774 at the age of 49.
I wouldn't trust it.
9 years later, in 1783, he wrote a scathing satirical piece on the Venetian nobles, which led to his immediate expulsion once again.
Yeah, sounds about right. There it is. There's that other shoe.
You would think that as he got older, he would slow down a bit, but that was not the case with Giacomo.
No.
In Bohemia, in what is now Dutzov, Czech Republic, he was hired as the librarian for Count Joseph Karl von Waldstein, a period in his life that he went on to say was so dull he contemplated suicide.
Jeez. Okay.
However, he used this relatively quiet period to write his memoirs. He starts the book with, quote, I begin by declaring to my reader that, by everything good or bad that I have done throughout my life, I am sure that I have earned merit or incurred guilt, and that hence I must consider myself a free agent. Despite an excellent moral foundation, the inevitable fruit of the divine principles which were rooted in my heart, I was all my life the victim of my senses. I have delighted in going astray, and I have constantly lived in error, with no other consolation than that of knowing I have erred. My follies are the follies of youth. You will see that I laugh at them, and if you are kind, you will laugh at them with me. End quote. In his memoirs, he noted that he'd contracted both gonorrhea and syphilis around 11 times.
Yeah.
And that he treated both with mercury chloride to kill the bacteria.
And probably any hope of ever having siring children.
Surprisingly, he didn't die himself as a result of its use.
Yeah, especially the air. Ugh.
Yeah. Not all of his encounters with women were on the up and up. In several instances, he abused and sexually assaulted the women, and several of his conquests were prepubescent girls and boys, for his appetites weren't limited to the fairer sex.
Of course.
There are even tales of him purchasing a 13-year-old girl as his sex slave in the 1760s when he would have been in his mid-30s.
Horrific.
He even admitted to incest, sleeping with his own daughter, following a night of passion with her mother that resulted in his child becoming pregnant.
I hate that. I really, really hate that.
The mother, a noblewoman named Donna Lucrezia, had been intimate with Giacomo 4 times before he also had relations with her virgin sister Angelica. After their tryst, Donna Lucrezia gave birth to a daughter, Leonilda, who would be raised as a legitimate child of the nobleman that she went on to marry. Years later, Giacomo would meet Leonilda when she reached the age of 16, and she would even attempt to pass him off as her fiancé, although thankfully that fell through.
Jeez.
Giacomo claims that he did not become intimate with Leonilda until years later, but the fact remains that he did, and he ended up fathering his own grandson with her.
That's really messed up.
In 1797, Napoleon Bonaparte seized Venice, and the following year, Giacomo passed away on June 4th, 1798 in Bohemia. He was 73 at the time of his death.
Crazy.
And although he was buried at Zamek Dutzov Herbito, the exact location of his grave is no longer known. Fun fact, the area of his grave was lost after a park was constructed out of the cemetery that was located behind the castle.
I hate that. I really hate that. That's a very scary haunted park.
Second fun fact, Giacomo outlived 3 of his siblings, with Maria passing in 1800 at 68 and Francesco passing in 1803 at 76. So only 2 of his siblings outlived him. The original manuscript of Giacomo's life, Histoire de ma vie, or The History of My Life, which was written in French, didn't make its way to a publisher until 23 years after he died in 1821. It was published in 1822, in part in German, after being translated back to French.
Okay.
Yeah. So between 1838 and 1960, all versions of his memoirs were based on these loosely translated sections. The original manuscript was stored in Leipzig until 1943, when it was moved to a bank prior to the bombings of World War II.
Wow.
And thanks to a collaboration between the original German publisher, Brockhaus, and a French editor, the manuscript was published in its entirety, breathing new life into the story of Casanova and his many adventures in 1960. In the book, which totals 12 volumes and 3,700 pages,
Wow.
it details an erotic account of his exploits with around 122 different women, in addition to his various other pursuits. His works aren't just about his sexual exploits, but also paint a picture of 18th century society in Europe during the time of the Enlightenment. He was extremely well-traveled, and in 1760 alone, he visited 26 cities, covering some 40,000 miles, or 64,373 kilometers, on foot or by coach.
Dang.
And today, his name is synonymous with a man who is a womanizer or a quote-unquote ladies' man, and it often carries a sense of charm or like roguish reputation.
Yep.
And we will close out our story on Giacomo with a quote from the man himself.
Okay.
Quote, "If you have not done things worthy of being written about, at least write things worthy of being read." End quote. And that is Giacomo Casanova.
What a polarizing man.
Mm-hmm.
Really rooted for him for like 70% of it.
Yeah. It wasn't until like I started getting further in the research where I was like, oh, yeah, this is like a morally gray character.
Yeah.
And then it started to get like not so great.
Worse.
So, yeah. But
you like him enough because he's human, but yeah.
we wouldn't be here without support from listeners like you. If you're interested in supporting us financially, you can leave a one-time or monthly donation over on Buy Me a Coffee or our Venmo page. Links are in the show notes. And we make a point of reaching out to send you a thank you note and stickers to show our appreciation.
Want to show your support in a more concrete way? Pick up some Yield Crime merch over at our TeePublic shop. We shout out whenever there is a sale each month, and we work to make sure we're creating new designs and changing it up whenever possible. And hey, thanks for listening.
Want to be social with us? You can see pics from this week's episode, bonus content, and funny memes on X at Ye Olde Crime Pod, or on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube at Ye Olde Crime Podcast.
Speaking of YouTube, we have a special playlist just for our Can You Crack the Cramp Word segments with our guest podcasters to see who can correctly guess the meaning of some obscure Victorian slang terms. If that's your thing, check it out.
So, what is something good you'd like to share?
Well, actually, in light of my husband's birthday, he asked for 2 desserts, and I love to bake. It's one of my favorite things to do. I don't get to do it very often because if it's just the 2 of us, I can't justify like the super decadent stuff I like to make with such a small house. But he had requested raspberry cheesecake and shortbread. So I made shortbread, I know. And then I made a raspberry cheesecake with like a homemade shortbread graham cracker crust. So it was like a mixture of it. Yeah. Brown some butter. I make a mean mashed potato. Like I'm really good at making some potatoes. And so we had bacon for breakfast, and I did some low and slow bacon that's all nice and crumbly for the top of the mashed potatoes tonight. Yeah, so I've just been kind of cooking all day. And I just forget how wonderfully mindless I find it. I know some people like baking is a science to them and it's really hard and awful. I just love guessing, and I usually guess fairly well. I don't know. I've kind of had some Casanova dumb luck with some stuff, but yeah, we'll see how the cheesecake turns out. I got to put it in the fridge now, but it looks like cheesecake, so
That's half the battle right there, is having
I
it look like
know.
it's supposed to.
I know. I haven't made cheesecake in almost a decade, so when he asked me, I was like,
This
but it
can go
looks
one of
good.
two ways.
Yep. At least we have the shortbread. Like, I know that the shortbread's going to be good. So either way, he'll have something to eat for dessert. But that's my something good. Is just I really enjoyed doing that this morning.
Nice.
What about you?
My something good, even though it hurts me to say it, is I'm getting all new tires for my Jeep, like all-terrain tires.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to be so set.
Because I need them for the winter and just in general. And when I bought the vehicle, there's 2 different sets of tires on my vehicle. So the 4 of them aren't the same. And now this way they'll all be the same. So it's kind of a pricey purchase, but I was able to get a discount, and I just opened a line of credit to pay for it, and I can pay it off within the year. But I'm going to try and pay it off within 6 months. So
awesome.
So yeah, treating myself to big kid things, tires.
Honestly, getting good tires at where we live at this time of the year is such a good idea.
It's super important.
It's so hard to justify. It's so hard to make the purchase, but it feels really good when you do it. Like whenever I would put new tires on, I'm like, everybody look, I got new tires, because it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
All right. Shall we?
Let's do it.
We love to hear from you, and there's a couple of ways you can reach out to us. You can email us at yeoldecrimepodcast@gmail.com, where you can send us story ideas, share any spooky stories you may have, fun gifts, or even just to say hello.
You can also reach out to us via snail mail. Remember mail? Our mailing address is Ye Olde Crime Podcast, P.O. Box 341, Wyoming, Minnesota 55092. Fun fact, we like to send out thank you cards with fun stickers you can't get at our shop, so it's worth the cost of a stamp.
And on that note, as always, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Madison.
And we'll see you next time with another tale
as old as crime.